right, and you talk about we're going to pay taxes, and there's other things we're going to need to pay too.
Yes, we are.
And we're going to pay tax on them.
Oh.
All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about gas and electric bills and how these are estimated. All right. If you don't know, you ask your parents. Usually your gas electric meters might be read every other month. Oh, sorry about that. That's my tie. And on the off months that it isn't read, your bill is going to be estimated. So here we got pictures. This is a gas well, an working gas well. Obviously, electricity being transported here. And I got a picture of kind of an oil well because often we get oil and gas out of the same well, maybe not exactly at the same time. But let's talk about gas and gas and electricity. All right, we use, if you have a gas oven, typically use gas for heating, so either the oven and over there we got a hot water heater, electric for fans, our computers, our TVs, lights, and one I'm sure most of you use every night, to charge up your cell phone, right? All right, the thing I don't have a picture on here is the one that uses both gas and electricity in most people's home, and that's your furnace. All right, because the furnace itself, the heat comes from usually from burning gas, but you've got a fan that circulates that air that runs on electricity, so you need both for that one. And we'll talk about that when we get to the heating. All right, so here's some pictures, and these are off of a gas and electric bill. Now, this is how they estimate. Now, this happens to be for the electricity here and the gas here. We'll look at them in more detail, showing a month by month, either whether it's estimated or actual usage. And over here, we have what they use. Remember, I said this is going to be, we're looking at how they estimate our bills, how they can estimate how much our bill is going to be. So here, this shows what the actual was for electricity last year and what the average temperature was, but what the estimated ones was for this year and the temperature, and the same for the gas. So let's look at these individually. And a little bit bigger makes it easier to see. So here's the historical electric consumption. These letters down here are the months. So this would have been November last year up to November of this year, all right? And where it says A, that's when the company actually came out, did actual readings, and E's are the estimates. Now this is electricity, and you see if we go across here, it looks like July. That was quite a bit higher, they estimated. Now if you remember, why would electricity be so hot? We had pretty hot July, right? And people tend to run air conditioners, and so in the summer tend to have a higher electric bill, and in the winter, a higher gas bill. Notice that the gas was a little bit lower during the summer. Well, I didn't get to the gas one yet. Let's look at the gas for the summer months. Oh, so here looking at electricity comparisons. So this November, here in 2017, the average daily temperature was 42 degrees. Last year, it was 46 degrees. So last year's average temperature for the month of November was a little bit higher. That's going to have more of an impact on our gas bill when we look at that in a minute. All right, here's the gas consumption. Now remember I said typically in the summer you see electricity consumption goes up. Notice how the gas, and these were all estimated bills until they actually had an actual read in August, and notice there probably is a little adjustment there, so probably some of these estimates were a little bit low, but notice it goes way down in the summer. You use a lot less gas in the summer, but in this home we still used it for cooking and for hot water, but you're not running your furnace in the summer. So we saw that amount went down. All right, and once again, here we're looking at the average comparisons, and we're seeing a word here now, average daily use, and that word is a therm. Now what that is, and we'll look at that in a little bit more detail in a minute, but that's the estimate of the heat content of the gas that the power company uses to charge you, because not all gas that comes out is exactly the same. Sometimes if you go to buy gas at a pump, you see that you got high test or you got the lower test gas. They cost a little bit different. Well, the same thing is with this kind of gas that comes out of your pipe. So let's look at this. Now we're getting a little snapshot of the paper, and this shows a lot of details. This is this morning's paper, but one of the things it has down here is heating degree days. Now let's blow that up and take a look at that. And if we look at this, it says that on Wednesday, the amount of heating degrees was 29, but what does that mean? Well, what they do is they take the average temperature for the day and subtract it from 65 degrees, if we figure that's kind of a neutral temperature, your furnace wouldn't be running too much, and that tells us how much we would have had to spend that day. It gives the electric company or gas company amount of how much they would have to spend that day or how much gas and electric you would have used to heat your home. Now, to date, notice we're way behind what our normal average is, okay? And it's been fairly warm up until the last few days. We've really been kind of spoiled with the nice warm weather we've had so far this winter. All right, now, here we get into the actual charge for this. Here, if we look on this gas bill. This is just, excuse me, this is the gas bill, that this month's reading was an estimate. There's last month's meeting, and the difference they have here is 119, but that's 119 what? What are they actually billing us for? Let me go ahead to that. And Sam showed us earlier, here's all the other charges. Some of these are taxes, a lot of adjustments, but notice they all go by this word therm. Now, where did they come up with that word therm? Now, that 119 that we looked at, the abbreviation here, CCF, stands for hundreds of cubic feet of gas. So you buy your gas by its volume, all right, hundreds of cubic feet. But not all gas has the same, they say, energy content. It's a mixture of different gases. It's not just one gas, but it's mostly methane. And because of that, sometimes that gas may have a little bit higher heat content when it burns than others. And so they multiply this little adjustment here to come up with this therm. So what was 119 cubic feet, or hundreds of cubic feet, ended up being 122.6 therms because this was gas that had a little bit higher heat content than usual. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to skip ahead. We do the same thing here, but now they're going to charge us not just for that gas and electricity that they supply us, but getting it to us. So here, if we look at, up here we've got a hydroelectric plant, solar energy, nuclear, and if I can get that to come down, well, oh, we go, wind, and all these go into the distribution grid, then that's brought to us. And so they're going to take into account not only their cost of buying that energy, but also you're going to pay for them to deliver it to you. They've got to pay to maintain those pipes, the wires, all the people that come out to work on those. And so you're paying for both things. You're paying for the energy itself, but also for them to distribute it to you.